All right, and we are live. So it's going to take a second for them to see us, but everybody, we're here with Mascha of Musings by Mascha, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm so excited that I was able to do this interview with you. Thank you so much. I
Well, thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much for having me. I'm so excited as well.
Yeah, definitely. We were just having a nice little chat about our dog, my big mouth Sully, and her beautiful baby that's just laying there like a good baby.
Happy.
Hi, Cindy, and hi, Jen. How are you guys doing? And they probably still can't see us yet.
I try. Hi, Jen. Hi, Cindy. Nancy. Nancy is joining us as well. Hi,
Hi,
Nancy.
Nancy. Yep, there we go. There we go. Oh, here we go. Hi, Darlene. How's everyone doing this evening or morning for you?
Yeah, it's morning for me and Jen, that's for sure.
Hi, Mandy. Hi, Johnny. So, how close are you and Jen to each other? I mean, I know Australia is pretty big, right?
Yeah, we're quite far away. She's in Queensland and I'm in New South Wales, so it's probably we're kind of looking at maybe a couple of thousand kilometers.
Oh,
Or
okay.
more, yeah, so probably know better the distances, but yeah, we're quite far away. In the same time zone now, though, like after the daylight savings. So yeah,
I gotcha. I gotcha.
yeah,
All right. Well, we'll just get started if you're ready.
yeah, sure, yeah, let's go. And by the way, hello everybody.
So, the first question is your channel name, Musings by Mascha. What made you name, your channel that?
Well, I guess when I created my channel, I wanted. I didn't want it to be restrictive, and I thought sort of including my first name and musings because it's more like my thoughts, my contemplations, reflections, and musings by Mascha. I had another idea, like musings from Mascha's Den, like Zen Den, like my space. But then I thought it's kind of probably will be a little more restrictive, and then the title will be a little longer. But why I named my channel Musings by Mascha, because I just kind of wanted to bring different topics to discussions. While it's very heavily, of course, cartomancy, tarot, and now Lenormand based, but I also love to talk about my other interests, because all of them kind of, and we'll talk about it later, all of them really are a part of my path, my spiritual path. And yeah, so that's why, because I kind of wanted the channel name to be a little more open so I can really include all those different topics. Hence, I just stick with Musings by Mascha, more like reflections, contemplations, yeah, by me.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long, um, how would you label your spiritual path?
Well, you see, that's the thing, labeling, and yeah, when it comes to everything, I sort of try to move away from labeling because I find once again, like same thing with my channel name, I find labeling rather restrictive. But if I have to talk about what my spiritual path is, I would say it's probably like, well, not probably, for sure, it's a path of growth. And I talk about it quite a bit. If I have to give myself a label, I will label myself an integrator, because I integrate all the learnings and I explore different things, and some of them stick, some of them fall away with time. But yeah, I would say my spiritual path is the integrator. And what I mean by that, so of course, tarot and cartomancy has become a part of my spiritual path, but also it extends to exploring different types of meditation. And I do chakra meditation and transcendental meditation and Zen meditation. And they're like from three completely different schools, right? But I integrate them all in my practice, and they all have that place in my practice. I practice yoga. I practice tea ceremony. I now kind of dipping my toes into qigong, which is very new to me, and I'm sure that will become a part of my spiritual path as well. So I do integrate a variety of things and a variety of learnings that I have gained throughout my life and from my teachers into my spiritual practice. Yeah.
Right
And it's pretty
on.
much, it's really like, if you look at yoga means of union, right? Finding that space of uniting your body, your soul, your mind. And we can say like any path, like when I do a tea ceremony, it's the same practice, right? It's the same as
Yeah.
bringing me that sense of presence and unity and insight. And then we use our cards, our tarot cards as well. When we do readings, it gives us that insight, right? Tapping into the deeper conscious. So it's, yeah, I see it as really one path, but it's just the integration of different modalities that I'm drawn to. And it always changes as I grow.
Right on. I like that. Yeah, integrator. I like that.
Mhm.
I agree. It's hard putting I understand why in society we need to have labels for certain things.
Mm.
But labels I do think are definitely limiting, definitely. So, were you raised in your path or did you veer off from your family?
Well, uh, yeah, probably I kind of went off on my own path because I was raised as a Russian Orthodox, so Christian religion, but Russian Orthodox. Because of my granny, she was quite strong and strong believer. And but I never. Well, I guess probably from the first time when from my first confession that my granny took me to, I knew that this path is not for me. It's a path of restriction and growing up and going to that church with granny because I didn't really have a choice. I found lots of corruption was happening, lots of false ideas were implemented, and what was taught by the people there, the senior people in the church, it's not how they live their lives. And I kind of thought, well, that doesn't make sense, because if you teach me something, like, why don't you do what you preach, right? And I'm talking about like moral behaviors and virtues, so it's kind of not nice things were happening that the town knew. And that's for me kind of, I always knew that it will never stick. And another part of it was that my granny was always like, well, why do you need to question everything, all the teachings from the Bible? Why do you have to question? And I'm like, but isn't it how we learn? Like, isn't, like, how come I just believe because somebody told me? And why do I need the intermediary, like to communicate with the divine or the higher source or whatever we believe in? And my granny wasn't very happy with me about that. And but also, I mean, yeah, as long as I kind of went along, on Easter and Christmases to church, she didn't really force much on me that, but yeah, she kind of knew that it will never stick, and I will never, it's just not a path for me. And and that's why I guess my journey into spirituality really started when I started yoga practice, because as I was growing up and then moved to uni, I kind of didn't really think of spirituality as such. I just kind of lived my life. I just studied, and so I didn't have a meditation practice or any kind of sort of connection to the higher source. But then when I started my yoga practice, those things very organically evolved and changed for me.
What about now? Does your family support you? Your spiritual
Well,
path now?
yes, yeah. My mom, she kind of she always has, right? Although she does go to church on main holidays, she does support my path now, and she doesn't understand in many ways. And I mean, I do explain to her, like what yoga path is and what Zen meditation, and she doesn't practice those modalities, but she really supports me. She just wants me to be happy and healthy, and yeah, and she really trusts me as well, on whatever I choose, that it will be kind of for the better and for my own growth. Because even because my mom always, even for my granny, fortune telling, all those things, they were a big taboo, a big no. But as I was growing up, my mom always had an interest on like tea leaf readings. If somebody would be doing it, like, she would be first raising hand for them to do it for her. And when I got into tarot cards, I kind of because I only can see my mom now like once a year, every 1.5 years, because she is back in Belarus near Russia. But I kind of, when I got into tarot, I thought like how I'm going to introduce, like tell her that. And we were in Bali, and I brought my tarot cards, and I told her like, Mom, I'm into tarot now. And the first thing she said, like, can you do a reading for me? So she's like, what? As long as you do a reading for me, I'm cool with that. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it was easy. She doesn't understand it, but like, yeah, if I can do readings for her, she's cool with that.
I remember once when my mom was here, and my mom's not big on all that either. I mean, she's Christian, but she's not like, I mean, like jumping down your throat Christian, nothing like that, right? But so I pulled out the tarot cards. I'm like, do you want to read? And she's like, all right, go ahead. So I start doing the reading, and I'm like, this is what I see. And she's like, well, actually, this is what I see. I'm like, here, do you want the card? She's like, no, no, no. I'm like, I love it.
Yeah, next like Christmas gift, Mom, there is a good tarot deck for you off your card.
You know what? I might do that, but the problem is you probably wouldn't touch it. I don't know. So do you feel a stronger connection with a certain element?
Yes, I'm very connected with the water element, and probably because I'm Cancerian, my sun sign, Cancer, July born. But I mean, I know I need more fire in my life, and I'm full of air. I don't know. Are you familiar with Ayurveda, teachings of Ayurveda?
No.
Yeah, so we all kind of know of Chinese medicine, right? So we kind of know the Chinese medicine and based on elements, and Ayurveda as well. And what Ayurvedic teachings, it's pretty much a healing system of India, and it does predate Chinese medicine. So a lot of Chinese medicine teachings, I believe, were borrowed from Ayurveda. It just means Ayurveda, the science of life. But Ayurvedic practitioners, they look at your body and mind and soul as elements, a combination of elements. And we all have 5, like air, ether, water, fire, space. And my constitution, I'm very, well, in Ayurvedic language, it's vata, but what it means, it's lots of air and space. And same thing like with Stereosus, right? So if I have a lot of air, lots of swords, like very airy mind, so that's what I am, right? So I have a lot of air in me as my constitution, both like physical and mental and spiritual. But I need more fire, I need more motivation and drive. But the element I'm most at home is my kind of home element, water. Hence, when I lived in inland in Tasmania and other states in Australia, I really missed ocean, and at times I was quite miserable because I just didn't have that access to the ocean. And so water is my kind of my home.
So isn't that along the same lines when you say, did you say Ayurvedic or Ayurvedic? Something like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Isn't that the same also as like your chakras, right?
Well, Ayurveda is actually a very interesting system because if because, well, you know that I teach yoga, right? If we look in the modern world, when we say like yoga, people come to yoga because they have like back pain or they want to develop flexibility, right? But like really spiritually, it's not a yoga practice. You practice Ayurveda. What you do, you use the yoga teachings to improve your health. So Ayurveda is a sister science of yoga, but it's more like it's all about bringing balance into your life and getting you healthy, when yoga is considered spiritual path. So we go to yoga to get enlightened,
Okay.
but but again, they're very much interlinked. But the Ayurveda is pretty much it includes your chakras, and Ayurveda includes your crystals and chakras and essential oils if you kind of dig deep there. But also it includes lots of herbs which are very accessible. Why I like Ayurveda, why I'm drawn more to Ayurveda than Chinese medicine, because we all know cumin, coriander, fennel. It's just such easy, accessible spices to get, but they're so potent to complement, to supplement our diets. So that's the reason why I just understand Ayurveda more than Chinese medicine and applications of Ayurveda to my lifestyle. Yeah, but it does include everything, you know, and that's the thing for me. It does include Vedic astrology, you know, Jyotisha. It also can be linked Ayurveda, you know, Vedic. Veda means kind of science or knowledge. So it's such a it's a beautiful system, and yeah, and I probably need to make more videos on that
I
because
was gonna
it's
say,
really fascinating.
I was gonna say thanks. Now you're introducing me to something else that I need to learn, right?
But it's wonderful though. Like I mean, Ayurveda really changed my life. You know, it's all
Yeah.
about developing your routine. It includes your even like sun gazing and ritual moon bathing as part of the practices to heal. So it's a fascinating. I mean, it's a kind of it's a system that's I think 6,000 years old now. They say some
Yeah.
people also will say five, but yeah. So it's very ancient and yeah, it's wonderful.
Sounds really good. I was just doing videos the last few days, like on the elements and the chakras and the tones and or
Mm.
mantras, which I find are very fascinating.
Mm.
So I'm sure that the Ayurvedic stuff would go right along with that.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because sounds and chakras is like, yeah, and that's what, like when I do a chakra meditation, it's either I would chant that particular sound out loud or silent, you know, as a melody as I focus on it on each chakra. Yeah. Do you have like your sounds like sound like Om Lam Vam Ram? Did you use the same sound?
Yes.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
also A,
I
E,
used,
I,
yeah.
O, and U. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have a favorite season of the year?
Summer, I don't like cold, so I would probably say like late spring and summer. Some yeah, because yeah, I have very cold hands and feet, and even if it's like for most people, when people think it's just nice and fresh weather, I would probably most likely be wearing like a jacket and boots on. So yeah, yeah, summer is for sure. I love it. I love to be outside. I love to be warm. Yeah, I love to be hot. I don't sweat much though naturally, but again, it's my air and space. That's my constitution. So I love the heat.
Yeah, very good. So there's a few people I haven't said hi to that have come in. Simon, hi. Julianne and Leanne and Brienne. And let me see. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody else. All right. What is it called again? Vedic yoga? That's what Leanne asks.
Well, Vedic yoga, yes, because yoga is from the Vedas, right? So when we look at the ancient teachings that came from India, they're part of the Vedas. And Vedas, as I explained, Veda means science or knowledge or system, right? Like Ayurveda, Ayur life, Veda knowledge, so knowledge or studies of life. And yoga is a part of it. It's just kind of a part of, yeah, there are many philosophies as well. Yeah, and it's part. It's all recorded in ancient teachings, which are Vedas.
Hi, Gypsy. Hi, Darlene. Oh, I already said hi to you already. See, but hi
Hello.
again. That's okay. All right. So yeah, do you use divination? And if so, what types of divination do you use? Geez, I can't even speak.
Well, everything, you know, it's like you said, like, you know, you did the videos and now I said that you were then you want to learn it. So I'm the same. Like now Simon was talking about dominoes and I'm like, that's interesting. But at the moment, my probably more predominant forms of divinations would be tarot and Lenormand. But I do have that. I do put Lenormand aside, and now I'm obsessing about Lenormand again, and I'm doing a course with Kelly from Truth and Story now, and Mindy from Artistry of Tarot. We're doing it together, the advanced Lego of the course. So I'm really loving it, and especially now, you know, during those kind of troubled times, and I just need very basic primal questions, primal answers, you know, and that Lenormand is just so wonderful for that. But also, having said that, Lenormand Grand Tableau is just, it's such a fascinating reading to do and very accessible as well. And yes, I love it. But tarot, of course, I do love playing cards, but I need to learn more practice more divining with playing cards. I do love runes and very drawn to runes, but again, I haven't learned much. You know, that just more like pretty much pulling a few and reading from a guidebook. That's kind of my that's the only things I know, but I need to study more. And OM as well. I recently received the OM from the UK. Very fortunate that they came before all the COVID-19 started, and yes, so I'm kind of reading a little bit on OM as well, and I really like that they all kind of come from different trees, very special ones. So yeah, so they're my the main ones, Lenormand and Tarot, but also playing cards. Oracles, I do them more as clarifiers, not very often anymore. And yeah, so runes on OM is the ones that I have. Yeah.
Very cool. And I didn't know about the dominoes. I'm gonna have to go and check that out now. Just another thing, right?
Yeah, always, isn't it? But then we have I Ching, right? So it's another system we can explore. So yeah.
Yes. There's too many. I wish there was like, 48 hours in one day. That would make it a little bit easier, right?
Yeah, and I wish we could use like the whole capacity of our brain as well,
Exactly.
So just remember and, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what is your sun sign, honey? What did you say it was?
Yeah, Cancer.
Cancer. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So
Do you know what
yeah.
your rising and your moon are?
The moon is in Virgo and rising in Sagittarius.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you do have some fire in there.
Sorry?
You do have some fire in there then.
Yeah, but the fire is the one that I really need to build up on. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I really believe we all have all elements are present within us. It's just more like, what do we need to bring up and what we need to to reduce. So that's yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but I don't know much about astrology, so I'm all ears.
Yeah. No, I'm not the person to be talking about that. That would be Julianne, who's in here. She's wonderful.
Oh, yeah. She's so good. Yeah, Julian Victoria with her Jyotish astrology, because we see like with what we know in the West astrology, I'm Cancer, but with Jyotish it will be, I think, pushing one back, so it would be Gemini. So that's very interesting to explore. I did. I had my chart done by one of my Ayurvedic teachers and practitioners, and that was fascinating. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm a Capricorn on both. My sun sign is still Capricorn for both. Although I am like a Capricorn Aquarius cusp actually in Western. But so what are your tarot birth cards? Do you know?
Yeah, my birth card and life path is the same, because if I add all the numbers, they add up to 32. So 3 plus 2 is 5. So that's the Hierophant. So I have, my birth card and my my life path are the same. But also, I read. Have you read the Tarot for Yourself by Mary Kay Greer book?
No.
It's actually fascinating, because she goes through, you can find like your teacher or your hidden card, like your hidden card on your path or your teacher card. And that's for me would be Temperance. And then from the minor arcana, based on your dates of your birth and your month. So my month card, because July is month number 7, is Chariot. But my destiny card, I think it's 3 of Cups. So out of the minors, but she kind of, in the book, she goes through all of it, and you kind of figure out, with your life path, what's your teacher card, what's your destiny card. And yeah, so it's kind of fascinating to tap into that as well.
Have you done a video on that?
No, I haven't. No, I probably should. Yeah. But, because it's so interesting, and it's all very much kind of goes through the month of birth and like the dates in between you were born, and you kind of figure it out. Yeah.
That sounds really cool. I would love to see a video on that.
Yeah, because
if you ever feel like doing that.
Yeah, because for me, learning that my hidden path or teacher card as Temperance was like so insightful in my tarot journey.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And well, you already said you're life path 5. Do you know what your significator card in the tarot is?
Yeah, Queen of Cups. I am. Yeah,
Being a
but I also,
Cancer, right?
mind-wise, I do also relate with Page of Swords because of that kind of my erratic mind at times. But the main one, yes, Queen of Cups.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is your current favorite tarot deck right now? Do you have one?
Oh, it's never one for me, Rachele. Well, right now, as of this week, I have a box always that kind of I change my decks on a weekly basis, and some stay all the time. But the very favorite that came was the Hush Tarot, and I've been really obsessing about this one. It's just I did well, Diane, she was on your channel, Diane Jarecki from Indigo Moon Woman. She did the shadow spread, and I know Julie and Victoria did Diane spread as well. So yeah, I'm kind of been doing that with this deck, and it's just so powerful because I did put on my Instagram. I decided to open it at the beach because I thought, well, it's the closest nature place that I live by. And yeah, because what I love about this one, that and the creator here, Jeremy, that he looked at the animal kingdom and the humans as one, like we're not superior or inferior, right? We are on an equal basis. And yeah, so what I did, I shuffled the cards nicely. I kind of looked through the cards, and normally I would kind of cut my deck in one after I shuffle and I pull the cards. But I don't know, for some reason, I just felt like fanning the cards, so make them like a fan, right? And then randomly, I chose 3 cards for the questions, more like what ails me. Was the first question from Diane spread, what ails me? Second one, I don't remember. And then what can I do to release it, right? So what are the teachings? What can I do to release it? And I pulled 3 kings out of random, like King of Swords,
Wow.
King of Wands, and yeah, I didn't pull King of Cups of Wands, Swords, and Pentacles. Yeah, very randomly, like completely different, like big fan of 78 cards. And yeah, so that's been really powerful. And I pretty much since that day, I've been reflecting on that. So yeah, and I find actually, yeah, people were saying it's a lot of decay here, but I kind of find it very beautiful, to dive in and explore. So yeah, so that's been like my current very favorite this week. But because also I've been diving into Lenormand, I've been using my Madame Moreau's fortune telling cards. And
so cool.
what I love about this one, because it's plastic, so it's just so easy to shuffle, and I can take it to I talk a lot about my plastic cards, to a bathtub, and I can take it to the beach, sort of like almost indestructible. So I've been using these ones as well. Yeah, but there is always favorites, there are always Marseille decks that are always with me on my table. Yeah.
Julianne said that the second question was, how has it served me?
Yes, because I'm kind of thinking like, how can it teach me? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because I got it recorded somewhere, even probably in my notes somewhere on my iPhone. Yeah. Thank you, Julia and Victoria.
Do you have a current favorite tarot card?
Cards is probably Star card would be my favorite, especially like this year, and yeah, probably because for the hope and what I want to embody with and I've been exploring feminine energy, diving into that this year as well. And for me, actually got it here from Mother Peace, this Star card. I think it's just so beautiful, and that's how I want to be, and yeah, so it's one of my favorite cards. But also from other decks, I really like Star cards from the Thoth Tarot, which I'm also diving in a little bit, and from Polarcos Tarot. Yeah, so there are a few Star cards that I really like, but this one I just love her so much.
To be in nature and be able to take like a bubble bath,
Yeah. Yes, around, and also like she just looks so peaceful and serene, and yeah, so yeah.
I would definitely not be that serene being out in nature thinking about snakes being in the water and all that. So to be in that state of peace would be a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can always do like a bathtub with, like flowers and rose petals and essential oils and Epsom salt. So that's your sea
There
water.
you go. There you go. Not that I
That's
wouldn't
my
like that. That's what I'm saying. That'd be awesome. But I just know me. I'd be like, what's in here with me?
Yeah.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah, also I've got here one other my favorite deck, Falar Castero. Have you got this one?
I don't. I've seen it though. It is
Yeah, I
really
just love
cool.
it. And again, the star card here is just so beautiful. Let's have a look.
Oh yeah.
I think she is just so stunning.
That is really pretty. I love the use of colors in that.
And Tower card is my favorite. Probably Tower card is actually from Polar Costero. Just look at this, like, yeah.
Yes.
I think it's just so, yeah, so powerful and beautiful.
That kind of reminds me of the Thoth Tower, actually, like breaking out of your skin almost.
Yeah.
Breaking out of old stuff.
Yeah, and also, like this, the saying that kind of you need to have a crack for the light to come in, right?
Yeah.
So breaking like open so we can really receive that light and transform and grow.
Right on. So what decks are you currently working with right now? Are those the ones, the Hush Tarot and your favorites, current favorites?
Yeah, well, I have a lot. So yeah, I've been really enjoying, as of recent, just to go, I guess, my heritage. So I've been working with my Russian decks, and I did a walkthrough of this one. So it's a Russian Tarot Lubok, and it's not a very popular deck because it's got, like keywords in Russian, but it's just such a wonderful deck. I'll show you a few cards.
Oh, no.
And it's so fun, and it's very folky Russian deck,
Wow.
yeah, so it just reminds me of those Russian fairy tales. Another one, a Russian one that I've been really enjoying, and that's the first deck that I ever bought, is the Russian Tarot of St. Petersburg, and a bit more popular by the US games. Yeah, so this one is just such a nice and quirky deck. I've been also, because I've been dipping my toes into Thoth studies, so I've been working with the Thoth deck we all know of, and another one based on Thoth. This one, I just keep it on the table. It's just in a tin, but it's a Rosetta Tarot by Mel Milleen. And it's really beautiful. I have two copies, one of the small, but like, yeah, that's a star card.
Oh, wow.
So they're just so stunning. But again, it's a Thoth-based deck, so we can recognize the Thoth influence here a lot. Although when she was creating the deck, she kind of wanted to have a little kind of love child of Thoth and RWS, but she went more heavily on a Thoth lineage. But yeah, really love this one. I'll just show a few cards. That's the Fool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Magician. Yeah, it's a really beautiful one. And I love the guidebook that goes with that. What else? Patrick Valenza's deck arrived, the second copy of Trionfio de la Luna that I've been really loving, the original one.
Beautiful.
I've been using. Polar Costero, of course, is, yeah. And Mythical Tarot by Baba Studio. I've been really enjoying that one. I think it's just such a beautiful deck, and I love that you can kind of choose whether you want to read it as RWS or whether you want to read it as Marseille. And of course my Marseille decks, which are Noble Tarot and Dodal Tarot, that I've been really loving. And I'll just show you one of my also favorite, but it's a Mages Only by Pablo Robledo, and this one is Tarot Paris. I just love the colors. I love the backs as well. I think they're just so beautiful.
Yeah.
But I can talk about all day about the cards.
I even like how they're like not even centered. Some of them are not centered. That's kind of neat too.
Yeah, because he cut them by hand. So that's why. And I think they're kind of, he's just such a master card maker. And his tarot decks are my favorite, really. His Marcella deck and Dodal deck, they're not that easy to get, but
very nice.
But also when you can, they're actually not that expensive. So yeah, I've been really loving this one as well. Yeah.
I had to comment because Mendy said no buying, no buying, no buying. My mantra this week. Yeah, good luck with that, honey. Especially when you're watching videos, right? And
I think,
enablers like this.
yeah, I think maybe you already got everything that I've showed. I think because Minty has been a little busy as well.
What did she say? Anyone considering this deck, it's amazing. You might be surprised at how powerful it reads. And Jen saying, hush. Hush your mouth, Nancy. I love it.
That's probably
Yeah.
why I'm Hastero, because I know that Nancy really loved Hastero as well. And I know Julie and Victoria likes Hastero as well.
Yeah, she said that you are her worst enabler. Yeah.
I just hope you love all those decks, Mindy.
Oh goodness. Okay, so here's the question of the hour. Would you consider yourself a collector? And if so, how many decks do you have? Inquiring minds really want to know.
Yeah. Well, I kind of more consider myself as a deck enthusiast, but I guess probably now as my collection has grown, probably I am a collector in some way. Especially when it comes to Lenormand, if I can have all historic Lenormand decks, I probably would. So yes, I have, when it comes to tarot, I have 96 tarot decks. So I'm like 4 short of 100. So, and with Lenormand, I have 28, and I have 30 Oracle decks, and that includes more like keeper cards and the other ones. So yeah,
I think that's fabulous.
Yeah,
I don't understand where this bad juju comes in, where people say I'm a collector. Bravo, you're a collector. People collect all kinds of stuff. We were talking about this on a previous live. How many people have you seen growing up, like grandmas, that had all these knickknacks and doilies and plates and who cares?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. Because I guess probably for me, like when you say collecting, yes, I do collect, but I use all of them as well. So you see, like, and I don't have that word for that, right? So yes, I collect them, but they're my tools, right? They're my tools for the practice, and I use all of them. And it's funny when people say, well, do you collect books? People say, no, I just have a library of like 1,000 books in my house. So I could, yeah. But yeah, I guess I am, because I've been, and my collection is kind of growing. But I've been also been quite good in a way that those decks that I don't work with, I've been parting with them, and I'm pretty much not that strictly, but now I'm kind of buy one, give away one, or exchange one, or sell one, and that's been working really well for me as well.
Yeah. You best buy 4 more, Mascha. You need a nice even amount. That's right. You got to have that 100. You are the only person on YouTube who knows how many decks I have.
Rise from Kickstarter, Yeah. Yeah, and I
Well,
got 2 more Lenormand as well, so I can make it 30 then.
Well, Leanne, you say that, but it's part of the questions that I ask everybody. So she was kind enough to actually go through and count all of them, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did download the Little Beep, the app that you told me about, that you and Simon used, but I couldn't, because I had indie decks, and I only started recording them in the app, so I kind of had to go and count the indie one, the one that I couldn't scan the barcode
Right.
of. So, yeah, so I did count all of them, which was actually
Wonderful.
quite nice, because I had no idea. I thought I had like maybe 10 Oracle decks, and then it's 30. It's like, okay. I knew that I would have like over 20 Lenormand decks, but yeah.
Wow. I think it's excellent. I really, really do. And I'm looking forward to having that many and more. Like I've said before, if anything happens, God forbid, knock on wood, they are like an investment. If you had to sell them in order to move or whatever you have to, then you've got it. Not that we would want to, God forbid us actually, part with our decks, but They're an investment.
Yeah, they
So,
are, and they're like really like I like to tell my husband, it's like, well, how much would you pay for like 78 pieces of artwork, and where would you put it in the house? And for me, that for me it is like, you know, it's a tool, it's a spiritual tool for the practice, but also it's the art as well. So yeah.
yeah.
But I can make any excuse to have a desk.
Right. Exactly. Would you say that, well, first of all, how long have you been reading?
Well, the first tarot deck I got them two on the same day was in December 2015, and I pretty much started diving like yeah at that time. But you see, the learning process has been slow for me, I guess, probably because I started with RWS and very quickly I discovered Marseille, and I was kind of figuring out what kind of reader I am and what resonates most. But yeah, so probably I've been reading since 2016, I would say. But again, as a beginner, and I still consider myself a beginner when it comes to divination and cartomancy. Yeah, but yeah, I've been enjoying it. And I guess probably I can say from 2016 because I started getting really clear messages from the cards.
And would you say that from the time that you started and to now that your reading style has changed quite a bit, or has it stayed the same, or what?
I think it changes all the time. Every time when I learn something or read a book or do like a course on tarot or Lenormand, right? So it changes a little bit because I learn more about the cards and myself and the decks that I'm working with. So I think it's constantly evolving and changing. And yeah, so I used to do, for example, spreads more like having a secure, like a question for every card, right? When now I like to more like read it like a story, you know, just have one question and read it like a story. But again, I do still do spreads, the ones that I really love. But yeah, I think it's constantly evolving, it's constantly changing.
I love it.
No, don't do that to me, Buzzy.
Hey, it's nice that it's not my dog doing it, okay? Just saying.
It's just people, I live in an apartment block. So Chappie, no, be a good boy. Yeah, I told everyone that you're a very good boy. Hey, can you be a good boy for me, please? Thank you.
Oh, what a little lover.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any daily rituals that you do?
Yes, and most days, you know, like every day is different. And are you asking more general rituals or more like card rituals?
Anything.
Oh, yeah, my list is long then. Every day I take a bath, and that's for me, that's kind of my self-care practice, and it's not negotiable. And yeah, that's a huge part. That's why I have plastic cards, because I do like my Epsom salt bath. Oh yeah, I use Epsom salt probably 3-4 times a week, but the bath I take every day. And it's when I take Epsom salt bath, I kind of pretty much sit in hot water for like 30-40 minutes. So I love my plastic cards then with me. And yeah, but my day starts with tongue scraping. So I scrape my tongue, and it's one of the Ayurvedic practices, and I truly believe in it. And it's part of the kind of your oral hygiene, but also we accumulate so many toxins, and if we don't scrape and clean them, and I do it before I brush my teeth, they kind of go into the bloodstream. Also with Ayurveda, if you look at the tongue, the Ayurvedic doctor will check your pulse and look at your tongue, because your vital organs like the lungs and the kidney, the liver, they have locations on your tongue, and looking at the spots on your tongue, you can kind of, they know, the practitioners know like the state of your organs inside. So that's one of the kind of negotiable. Yeah, and a very simple, like, you know, you can just use a spoon, like a silver spoon, and just scrape like 5-10 times. I use a tongue scraper. So that's for me is a good one.
I didn't even know they had those.
Yeah, no, that's kind of changed my life. I kind of, yeah. And if I don't forget, I do oil pulling as well. And that's kind of a bit more common practice with coconut oil, but I don't do it every day. I haven't been very disciplined with that, but I find it's actually quite a great cleansing practice as well. I practice yoga and I do meditation. I do walks. For me, walks are also part of self-care. So I take walks on the waterfront, and I'm fortunate that I live so close to the beach. And so what else, my ritual? Yeah, my lunch is another kind of big part of my practice because it's my biggest meal of the day. So I just make sure that I really kind of am very mindful, and I prepare the lunch. I do tarot all in a month daily draws. It just depends. Now I'm in a Lenormand mode, so I've been doing the Lenormand readings, 3 cards readings or 5 cards readings every day. So cards are as well a part of my practice. And I also love my tea, and today I'm having my matcha, but this one is a bit of a bigger bowl than like my tea bowl, right? But I like to have a little quiet tea ceremony where I have at least 3 bowls of tea. If I do it with my husband, that's 3 because he wants to chat after, and I like if I do a tea ceremony, it's like quiet, 3 bowls, quiet, silence. Because that's the tradition I learned from. But if I do it by myself, I can go like 5 bowls or even more, depending on the tea as well, depending on how it steeps. Yeah, so they're probably my they're my big rituals. Yeah, I'm also
That's
the
a
new one
lot.
I'm eating.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, the new one I'm eating, because normally I would have like lemon water, but I find a little bit too acidic to have it every day. So I'm it's a new one for me to add, is just having upon awakening, even like leaving a glass by the bed, but having spring water with a little bit of Celtic salt, just to kind of to reset the body in the morning. But it's a very new one for me, so that I'm kind of experimenting with.
Wow. That's fabulous. Yeah, I've never heard of the tongue and them being able to look and see how your organs are doing.
Mm.
Yeah, I definitely need to check into that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And that's like Ayurveda. You see, when you go to Ayurvedic practitioner, they are the questions that they ask you. You know, they look at the color of your eyes, they check your tongue, your pulse, they ask you about the quality of your sleep. They ask you about what, like, regularity of your meals as well, and what time you eat normally, you know, because it's all about really the whole science is really, it's developing a ritual and developing a routine and making it also spiritual in the long run. You know, everything that we do, like the way we prepare food, the way we walk, and applying it to all areas of our lives.
Wow, that's amazing. So talking about your dreams, do you remember your dreams?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And if I do set an intention to remember my dream, most likely I will at least vaguely remember my dream. I'm also studying with Camelia Elias, and she's a divination teacher. She's probably famous in our circles for that, but she in like previous working life, she was a professor at university, so I love her teaching. She's very scholarly, but also she includes those kind of magic and psychological and tantric practices as well, along with the cards. And we were doing a reading where it's pretty much kind of a reading, I think it was 5 cards, and it was connected with the elements. But then the central card, like you put 4 cards in the corners of your room for not element. I think the element was before. It was the direction, more like east, west, south, north, right? And then you put the middle card as your synthesis that comes in a reading, and then you kind of had to dream on that card. So mine was Emperor, and I kind of I thought I will try, but I don't really trust that I'm going to dream over Emperor. But I did. So I set an intention that I'm going to dream on on the Emperor card. And then I actually, in my dream, I was acting like an emperor. So it wasn't like that emperor drawing, right, we get in Marseille deck, but I was that emperor, and everything was just falling in places. You know, everything, I just kind of say something and things get done. And it was such a fascinating dream. And so that one I remembered. So, and since then, I actually been setting an intention. If I want a deep night rest, I kind of just go to sleep. But if I if I dream tonight, I want to remember. It's been really working, actually.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I do know that dreams definitely can be affected by what happens. I always think of dreams like downloads
Mm.
or uploads, like getting rid of what you went through that day or something that you've been holding on to for like a week or so. But if I fall asleep with the TV on, which sometimes I do because I need noise in order to be able to go to sleep sometimes. I know that
Mm.
sounds, well, for some, yeah. Um, but I will wake up because I'm dreaming about what I'm hearing on the TV. It affects my dreams. So I
Yeah.
wake up and have to turn it off so I can go back
Mm.
to sleep.
Yeah, no, I
So,
think we're very strongly influenced. That's why I don't watch any horror or very like
yeah.
disturbing movies, because if I feed my mind that, it's like I would have very, very disturbing dreams, and I will like twist and
Hmm.
turn, and yeah, it's really, yeah, they do influence, of course, like our consciousness,
Hmm.
and sometimes even what we suppress, right? So when we kind of, okay, yeah, it doesn't seem like scary or disturbing, but then when it comes in your dream, then
Yeah.
it's actually quite easy. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so what would you say is your favorite holiday or Sabbath?
My favorite, I would say probably summer solstice. I really love summer solstice, and I know that from then the days get shorter, but I was born, and I mean, I know that it's at the end of July, right, in Northern Hemisphere, but I was born on the 6th of July, on the night of the 6th of July to the 7th of July. And in Eastern Europe, in Slavic countries, we have a holiday called Kupala. It's just a name that we have, Ivan Kupala. So Ivan, like first name, Kupala, named after, Kupala, and it's very nature spirituality based holiday with lots of like bonfires and water cleansing rituals and making like flowers, for the girls, and divination is involved. So, but this one also is linked very closely to the summer solstice. So that's why for me those two are very important. And I was actually born on that on the day of that festival of the holiday, I guess, the celebration. So yeah, I do love that. And for me, summer solstice, yeah, so it's cleansing, it's purifying, and taking your ritual bath or going and swimming or bathing in the ocean, right? So cleansing, and also using the fire elements through, of course, in my apartment I wouldn't do a bonfire, but like lots of candles, and yeah, so that I just love it.
That's very cool. That's cool that you were born on that day.
Mm.
So do you work with crystals? And if so, what are your favorites or your favorite?
Yes, I do. The way I work with them is just more like carrying them around or holding them. It actually was funny when I only started teaching yoga and I didn't know how to manage my energy. I would always have crystals on me, and I would be so scared when I demonstrate the pose, then all these things will fall on the floor, like on the wooden floor when I was teaching. Now I'm better with this. Now I kind of set an intention, so I don't have to put crystals all over me. But I do have a few favorites, and I do have like, well, generally I have my little bowl of crystals. Chippy, he wants to play with me now, my little puppy. Yeah, but my very favorite, and that's the kind of two different versions of it, they're just small ones. So this one is Australian Moorkite, and I think they're just absolutely beautiful. And that's the first crystal when I really had this deep grounding experience. It was actually the workshop that I did in Tasmania, and in crystal community, this person Adam Baralet, he's Australian. He is quite popular for teaching about essential oils and crystals. And we did a meditation on Moorkite, and for me now, when people say, what's your most grounding crystal? For me, like, it's just no brainer. Moorkite is absolutely, it's my most grounding, most earthing crystal that I have. So I really love this one. And I really like shungite as well for protection, and it's really good for EMF. Like all this one. Yeah, I have the cube.
I
That's
love
my
that.
powerful. I do have a little one that I carry with me when I travel. It's like a little heart. You've got the pyramid. Yeah.
Pyramid.
Do you have it
Got them
next to your
all around my
device next to
computer.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Like, I think it's just so powerful, and yeah, it's another one. Like, it just some crystals, when I held them for the first time, I just had such a strong reaction and just knowing, you know. So this one very, like right now, as I was saying, like I really need that motivation and fire element. So I've been holding onto my carnelian quite a lot. But then, of course, you know, the crystal quartz and rose quartz. I have this one, like little like this one is a point, but it got the round other side, and I do my actually facial with that. I do little Chinese medicine practice with this crystal on my face. Yeah. So yeah, they're probably my most go-to. But again, I love amethyst. I love clear quartz. I have this little bag is my little hearts, because I'm just obsessed about heart-shaped crystals, and I have a few. So this one is like a smoky quartz.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so I do. Yeah, so I've got amethyst. Oh, I've got a few. So yeah, they're just tiny little, but I really like them. So yeah.
Very nice. I love working with crystals.
What's your favorite, Michelle?
Oh my gosh. You know, that's really hard for me because I love so many of them. I love labradorite. I think my first love was carnelian. It's the first one that I think I ever made any jewelry with was carnelian. For me, I went into a shop because a friend had said, well, I just started making beads, right? Making beaded jewelry. You need to come and check this out. So I went into the shop, and that's what started this whole journey for me. Was going in there, and it was almost like, if you could imagine, like the universe going, look at this. You know, it was like, bam. There were just gemstones everywhere. I mean, it was like instant. I was like in a daze, you know, walking around just it was I was like a zombie, and that was it. That was the rest was history. Yeah. But I love amethyst and rose quartz and pretty much everything that you said. And I do have a piece of mookaite that you sent me too.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. It's So yeah, I love it.
Yeah, mookaite is my biggest traveling one as well, and because I've learned that from this Adam Barali teacher, crystal teacher, that when I travel overseas, you know, like when I go to China or Taiwan or Hong Kong or Russia, if I can get outside on the ground with that crystal, I sort of like program it so it feels like the place I go, it feels like home. And for me, mookaite has been like so powerful to really arriving into the place, you know, because when we arrive, we jet lag and anxieties and like, you know, new places, but like mookaite has been actually very, very powerful for me for the travel purposes as well.
It's beautiful. I love all the different colors that you can see in it.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you said that your first one was carnelian, right? Because what I say like about mine, because, you know, like I lack motivation, but also I'm such a procrastinator, and this one is the crystal for creativity, right? And it's interesting that is the first one you were drawn to make jewelry, to get creative with crystals. That's our second chakra. So yeah, love this one.
I definitely love carnelian. I mean, how can you look at that and not love it? I mean, the color is just so rich.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would literally take my gemstones and just like run them around my face, and they're just, I love them so much. And I never had them as kids. I mean, I see stories of people saying, oh, I got my first crystal when I was, you know, 10 years old. I found this, or I would go look at rocks. It was never like that for me. It was just like, as soon as I seen them, it was just like a literal, like a bam, knocking me upside my head. Look at what you've been missing. And I was in my 30s, you know, middle 30s. So yeah, that was like my gateway drug into all things metaphysical.
But I think it's just when the time is right, you know, like for me also discovering yoga at the age of 26, I never knew spirituality, but you know, you just kind of, something comes into your life that feels so organic, and because it feels so true to you, it's almost for me, you know, like a memory, right? Something that I kind of always knew, but how come I never knew, like, you know, in this lifetime. And then it opens doors to so many more modalities and practices, right? It's just,
I don't have any mookaite. I need to look for some if I ever leave my house again. Yeah, if we ever leave our houses again, right? terrible. Yeah. All right. Finally, I got paid off and now waiting for delivery. Everything a little delayed at the moment. Yes. I'm waiting on a couple of different decks that it's just taking forever because places being shut down. But I mean, I'm not going to complain. I mean, I understand it. People need to be more safe. That's more important than me getting another tarot deck, right?
Yeah, I'm waiting on a couple as well. Yeah.
So, do you have a special skill or hobby that you would like to tell us about?
Skill or hobby. Well, I can probably tell you more like what I practice, right? So I practice yoga, and for me, that practice, it means, all the other practices that I do. And yeah, so yeah, I probably already told you about like my practice that I love is Ayurveda, right? But if you kind of have to, wellness is my biggest hobby, because it's funny, like when I arrived in Australia and I started yoga only in Australia, when my husband asked me, because he's like a keen golfer and he played squash, what's your hobby? And I'm like, I don't have any hobbies, I like reading, and he's like, what's your dream job? I'm like, student. I want to be a student all my life. And yeah, but I guess with time, when I got into yoga, wellness has become my biggest hobby, because I think it's just so practical, and all the things that we do can be a part of it, like for our well-being, our divination and crystal. But also I really believe in what we put inside of our body, because that's really, we are the spiritual being, but we still have that temple that we need to take care of, right? So for me, that probably is the biggest one. And I don't have like any special talents or skills, but since I discovered that what I like, that's kind of, I really love it, because it's your self journey. You can help people with that, right? So when you learn more about, and I started studying nutrition, and I started studying Ayurveda. I went and did my yoga teacher trainings, and like so many of them. And I started with, it's actually based in the States, and it's a really great institute, IIN, Institute for Integrative Nutrition, in New York, based on online school. So they do like 1-year courses. And yeah, so I did that. I didn't study clinical nutrition. I kind of started tapping into different things, to like the food and the meditation and the yoga, and now I'm doing a course with Camelia Elias, and it's like a 3-year program. But every assignment finishes with the card draw, but it's actually, you reflect on your psyche, you reflect on your dreams, like I mentioned, like how I started remembering my dreams by setting that intention to. So I guess that's probably is my my biggest hobby, if you will: well-being, wellness, and growth.
Okay. My ear things keep falling out. It's like my ear canals are like really little. I use the little ones and they still want to just keep popping out. So, do you currently have a favorite book or artist? Or
This week is Jeremy Hush. So that's easy. No, but I think he's just so talented, and the way he captured this deck. I mean, even this High Priestess, I really love her. I don't usually see myself in a High Priestess card, but in this one, I see myself in, So really love him. I just so appreciative of Carmen Sorrenti, and it's Pilar Costero artist. So that's probably, when it comes to decks, would be my my favorite artist for right now. When it comes to books, if you look at Cartomancy, it's Caitlin Matthews' books, her Marseille book, Untold Tarot, her Lenormand one I have here because, well, I'm obsessing about Lenormand. So I really love her writing style. Another one of my favorite books, and this one is more from a Zen monk, Thich Nhat Hanh. I always mess his name. The Art of Living. That's the last one he wrote. He wrote before his stroke, I trust, in 2016, 2017. But this one is just such a powerful book, and I keep going back to it. So it's just more mindfulness, very simple, very joyful practices on mindful walking and eating and meditation and appreciating every moment and finding joy in every moment. So I guess probably out of more accessible books or spiritual books or meditation books, he's one of my favorite, definitely one of my favorite authors. So yeah, that's probably would be it. And of course, my Pablo Robledo, when we talk about the card master or the person who creates or reproduces cards. So again, Pablo Robledo, and I do appreciate very much Sullivan Hismans from Tarot Sheet Revival, also who recreated Dodal Deck and Rosenwald and Budapest. And I'm just so grateful for him. I call him friend now. So yeah, so he's a wonderful, wonderful person as well.
Fabulous. So do you have a current TV series that you are liking? And it does not have to be like, spiritual or whatever, just any TV series.
I like teenage movies, like the one that I'm really loving is Riverdale. I don't know if you've heard of this one.
Yeah,
I just love it. And the most recent one, and I don't know, because our Netflix in Australia, sometimes we get things released later than you guys in the States, but the newer one about the Indian girl, or Indian American girl, first generation growing in the States, it's like a comedy. I think it's Never Have I Ever. Yeah, I think that's the name. Never Have I Ever. And I've been just enjoying it so much as well. So they are the two that I've been watching as of recent.
I've seen that on Netflix, but I haven't watched it yet. But I've seen it on there and thought, might be interesting. I like watching that stuff because it's fresh. It's young. It's like taking you back to when you had those kind of feelings, But
yeah.
So what about, do you have any favorite, like, witch movies or TV series?
Yeah, I love this Sabrina one, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just
that's really good.
I binged watched 2 seasons, I think, in 3 days or something. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I love binging. I
it's
love
nice
binging.
sometimes. It's part of self-care as well, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next question is, but I already know the answer to this one. Do you prefer coffee or tea?
Well, actually, I love
silly.
both, and I used to be quite a coffee drinker. When I was in education industry, I would have like 8 cups of coffee a day. I was pumping myself with coffee. But now I'm down to 1, maximum 2 cups of coffee. But yeah, if I have to choose one, tea for sure. But I do appreciate a good cup of coffee as well. Yeah.
And what is your favorite tea? I know that's not one of the questions, but with you being such a tea person with your tea rituals, what are your favorites? What would you suggest to other people for good teas for them?
Well, when I talk about tea, and I mean, I love herbal tea, but I call them tisanes, right? So the ones that more like herbs. And that's kind of one topic. Out of those, definitely like my favorite would be lemongrass and ginger. I love peppermint tea, and what you can call a tea, my Ayurvedic concoction. And I did talk on my channel a few weeks ago that I make the seeds, right? One teaspoon of coriander seeds, 1 teaspoon of fennel seeds, 1 teaspoon of cumin seeds, and I put them in flask, about 1 liter flask, fill it with hot water overnight, and then sip it throughout the following day. So that's kind of my biggest digestive favorite drink of all times. But when we talk about tea from Camellia sinensis plant, right, and it's very, like, many people still kind of get asked quite a bit, like, what about tea tree oil? But it's completely different plant. We're talking about tea tree oil as Melaleuca, right? But the tree where the tea comes from, it's from Camellia sinensis varietals. And if you look at different tea, it can be called a different name because of the processing of the tea, right? So it can be the leaf from the same tree, but the processing is different. So yeah, my favorites are, if I have to choose one, it will be wild. If I can get wild oolong or wild red tea, and I've been having it, wild green tea, that would be my favorites. But out of those ones, of 7 types of tea, red, white, yellow, black, oolong, green tea, and pu'er, I love them I love them all. And for me, it's really depending on the season, on how I feel and what kind of chi or energy I want to get through. Because what I believe, with tea ceremony, when we drink tea, the tea becomes us, right? So because it goes within the body, and the leaf of the tree is actually, like with us humans, our sort of intelligence and energy lies in our spinal column, right? So that's what we look at chakras. And but with tea tree, the energy of the plant is actually in every cell of the tree. So in every leaf that. So pretty much, if I have the tea from 300-year-old tea tree, I get that energy within me as I drink it. So yeah, that's why probably it's a long answer, but I don't have, like, if you ask me red or oolong or white or green tea, I don't have that particular preference. I love them all, but it just depends. Depends what kind of tea ceremony I want to do. Like if it's summer, it will be green tea or oolong. Now that it's getting a bit colder, I would go for red tea more. It's a bit more warming. Yeah, so yeah.
You are definitely a tea connoisseur. I love it.
I'm an enthusiast, I guess. In Chinese, there is a word cha jin. Cha means tea, like, chai, cha, and jin, person, tea person. So yeah, I just love it. And the practice has been very transformative for me as well. Yeah,
I
so
could definitely see you curating your own subscription box for tea.
No, I subscribe. Yeah. My teacher knows better. Yeah.
So, is there a time period other than now that you feel drawn to?
Yeah, well, actually, two. When I did my first past life regression, it's actually those memories they were coming like in other past life regressions. I would say it's like 14th, 15th century, and I don't know, because I was like a healer, and I lived in a little village, which can be a Celtic village or Slavonic village, because my memory of the village is so strong, but all the plants I remember, they're pretty much the plants that you see throughout European countries, right? So yeah, I don't know which country, but it would be that time, because I would love to go and live in that time, because I was the healer for the village, and I would go to the forest and I would forage like plants and berries, and I would dry them and I would give it to people. I didn't charge them money, they would just come to me. That's the memory from the past life. So yeah, so I would love to live in that world. So I lived in a wooden cottage type of very cute house. Spring water was just the main water that I would go and gather, so that's probably the time I would love to go to my past lifetime. And another probably period would be 1800s Russia, like mid of 1800s Russia. It just simply because of growing up, I really liked reading Pushkin, the poetry by Alexander Pushkin and Lermontov, Russian poets, and I just love how during that time there was lots of exploration going, right? So people were exploring their spiritual path as well, and there were like fortune-telling influences as well coming from France. So I would just love to be, in my home city, St. Petersburg, during that time.
Wow. Yeah. Very cool. And I could definitely see you in that environment, in the little cottage, and I would love to visit. That sounds really cool. Definitely.
Yeah,
I don't know if I
the
could.
past life regressions, I will just invite you.
Yeah, that sounds good. No, I've said all along, because I love these kind of questions, right? I love hearing people's responses to these. I would just get a huge time machine and we would all pack up and we would go visit different time periods. Now, personally, me, I wouldn't want to go back and live in any of the other times because I'm too spoiled. I mean, imagine not having TV or your cell phone. I mean, I would go and visit, but to live there, I don't think I could do it again. But to visit would be really cool. If you could have a deep conversation with anyone during any time period, who would it be and why?
Well, I think, the book that I showed you, the Thich Nhat Hanh, I would have loved to sit and talk to him, because the way he brings the very deep, very spiritual teachings, and even the well, we know Heart Sutra, right? His translation, it's just so easy to comprehend. It's so easy to apply, and it's just so, you know, that simplicity in finding the gratitude and compassion and leave, like emptiness, I guess. It's yeah, I would love to just to sit and have a chat with him. In my dream, I would talk to him and Dalai Lama. Like, you know, I would have the three people in the room. I would serve them tea. We'll meditate first and do a tea ceremony in silence. And by the way, actually, when it comes to tea, and I do speak about it quite a bit, because Thich Nhat Hanh, he's a Zen monk from Zen lineage, but of course his own Vietnamese Zen lineage, I trust. And in China, Zen monks were the first people who domesticated tea. So they saw that connection. And that's the saying in China that Zen and tea, one flavor. So they go together. Yeah. So, yeah. And I was actually born on the 6th of July. It's the same day Dalai Lama was born. So kind of, and there you go. And that's why I like, do you have Teru de San Kwa?
No.
Well, in Teru de San Kwa, the Hierophant card is actually Dalai Lama sitting in front of Big Buddha.
Oh,
yeah.
That is really cool.
That sold it for me, clearly.
You are amazing. Seriously, I love it. Wow. So if you could go to any event in history, what would it be and why then?
Well, you see, that I don't know. I'm fascinated like with royal families, you know, in all the different countries. I would like to, not a particular one, but I would like to be present at a coronation, you know, maybe in the past in Russia, like, you know, Russian Empire and England. And yeah, so I would like to be present and just experience coronation. But also, you know, like when I mentioned that period of time, 1800s in Russia, I would like to be present during like some seance that, you know, that all the poets and the kind of the creative people were invited, and we did like that. Well, not me guiding it, but be guided through the seance together. You know, that would be quite interesting for me to do. But not a particular, like, you know, particular point yeah, I can't really think of. Probably there would be one, but yeah. What about you? Do you have that event that you would have loved to be a part of?
Yeah, I want to see how the pyramids really were built, or the moment that the universe was created, or, oh geez, the Alexandrian Library, or when the Sphinx was built and what it's really, you know, the secrets that it's holding, or there's just way too many. I mean, seriously. I'd want to know every conspiracy theory. I want to know everything. I am the perpetual student because, yes, it's all about knowledge, you know? Yeah. The first tarot, when the first tarot was being created, you know? And yeah, far too many.
Yeah, well, yeah, I would love, yeah, to see all the things that you said. Yeah, take me with.
Yeah, huge time machine. We're all gonna go.
Yeah, but for me, that's so fascinating, you know, even like Stonehenge and those ancient times of the pyramids. And it's just so sad that we lost that. And same thing with Alexandria, the library, we lost all that knowledge that came from that old Arabic world. And, you know, like astronomy, and they just were so evolved. And even if you look at, like, I've been to a lot of museums with the jewelry and the gold, how they handcrafted it, like we cannot do it now with hands, you know, how it used to be done during those ancient times. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. And I do think that we do not have the exact history. I think that history's been changed. I mean, recorded history. I mean, look what they would do in dynasties after a pharaoh had died or had been assassinated. They would deface stuff. They would remove hieroglyphics so people couldn't actually know what happened. So, and yes, the great Alexandrian library, or Atlantis. the fall of Atlantis, or what Atlantis was really like, and crystal energy being what was used to power it. And oh, yes, just so
Yeah.
much interesting stuff. So, do you have a website?
No, I don't. I mean, I kind of have a yoga website, but I haven't posted in it for a while. But I kind of more on Facebook or Instagram. I have two Instagram pages. I have one Musings by Mascha that's more dedicated to like cartomancy cards and a little bit of tea sometimes. But I also have Mascha C, like my name with C. It's more like my yoga page, my yoga tea page where I post pictures of my puppies, that type of thing. So yeah, they're probably the media I use most. Because I used to like teach yoga more for myself, so I kind of use the website a bit. But now, because I write for a publication and I teach in different studios, it just makes it so much easier for me to keep those things on Facebook or go through their website, so I don't have to maintain mine.
Well,
Yeah.
I didn't know about those, but I do have your Instagram and your the Musings by Mascha one, because I was going through your channel and looking for like any links or anything like that, and I couldn't find any. But we were already connected on Instagram, so I knew that.
Yeah.
But if you guys look down below, for anybody that by any chance, and I don't think that there's anybody here that doesn't already know about your channel, but just in case anyone's watching this, in the future, your information is down below in the description. Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. So how long have you been on YouTube? Even beyond having your own channel?
Well, I started my channel in February last year, February 2019, but I probably jumped on YouTube maybe like around the same time when I got my first deck, because when I got my first tarot, it's just more like I just knew. I saw the deck, like I knew that's what I need to learn, and of course then I kind of but how do I do that now? Now I've got the deck. What do people think of this deck? And that's how I kind of started. Yeah, so so probably like mid-December 2015, I joined the Tarot Tube as more like as a watcher, right? And I didn't comment for probably until like 2017 or something. I just kind of watched and liked, and
Gotcha.
started my channel in February last year.
So what is the direction that you envision for your channel going forward?
You see, like, because I don't read professionally, I started channel more to connect with people, to find, because now I'm so fortunate actually where I live in Newcastle that I did find a few friends who live in the area who love tarot, and two of them are kind of professional tarot readers as well. So I'm very grateful for that. But I started my channel because I just wanted to connect with like-minded people who do appreciate tarot and who do like to drink tea when they do their tarot readings, and who appreciate Lenormand, and who very open-minded to practice new things, like meditations, and so that's probably the thing, is that what I envision for my channel is just to continue building and strengthening those friendships that I'm so fortunate that I have made through starting my channel.
Wonderful. Yeah. And the last question is, what do you wish to gain from your channel?
Yeah, so that's the same thing. It's just more connections, right? Connections, and also through those connections, growth. Because every time when we talk to each other, we learn from each other, and it does influence our practice, and it helps us to grow and to heal. You
are a very inspirational lady. Let me just say.
Thank you, Rachele. No, you are too. We all are. I think we all are here. Because I think that's probably we do have those channels because we do want to share, right? We want to connect, and with that we get inspired, but also I guess in some way we do inspire others just sharing our journey. So yeah.
So what I normally do at this point is open it up, if you are comfortable with that, for other people to ask questions of you. Is that okay?
No, absolutely. No, I would love to. And those of you who are watching, I thought I will keep an eye on the comments, but yeah, I will read the comments after. So once your video uploads, I will just make sure that I will read through the comments, and yeah.
I try to a little bit, but these go really, really long. So I try to keep it corralled as much as possible until the very end.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anybody have any questions for Mascha? Let her have it now.
Bring
Just
on the
playing.
questions. Ask anything.
Yes, she is definitely an enabler. I seen that last one. I can't remember the name of it. You showed the rose copy and then the new copy that you just got.
Oh, yeah,
And it is so stunning.
This one.
Yes. Yes.
And
I
it's
definitely
so
want that.
It's such a fun deck to read, you know, with it. Yeah, I love it.
It is stunning. What is your most favorite Marseille deck? And that's what Nancy asks.
Nancy, do I need to choose one? Choosing Marseille system was already like no, well, yeah, Dodal. Okay, so if I have to choose one Marseille deck, it will be Dodal Tarot de Marseille. I have 4 different reproductions, and I would choose 2. I would choose Pablo Robledo's Dodal Tarot de Marseille and Sullivan Hisman's from Tarot Shit Revival, his Dodali. So yeah, that probably will be, yeah, the shortest one. Dodal Marseille is my favorite.
Wonderful. Yes, what was that book about Ayurveda that you had mentioned before?
Did I mention an Ayurveda book before? I don't think
that
I
was
have
from
mentioned.
Mendy.
I did mention the meditation one, but one of the really good ones is Perfect Health by Deepak Chopra. And this book was published, I think, like maybe beginning 2000s, or maybe even in the late 90s. But if you really want to dive into Ayurveda, Perfect Health by Deepak Chopra, it gives you all the basics, and the writing style is actually very accessible, and it's a really good one. And if it's maybe you're talking about if you talk about my last live, I also mentioned the Paka, you know, Paka Brilliant Teas. There is a book as well written by the founder of the Paka tea brand on Ayurveda as well.
I'm writing all this down. All right. Have you shown those on your channel? Oh, sorry. Let's see. Can you do videos on Ayurveda for us, Mascha?
Yeah, probably, Jen. They will be coming. Well, probably when I do my lives, I'm probably that's the thing where my channel is going, because I've been doing my lives more combining tea and cards. And once I probably do a tea ceremony, as I've had a few requests, and maybe we'll do it more like together on my channel live, like a little meditation with tea for like 20 minutes, and then we continue. After that, I will probably start to introduce little bits of pieces of Ayurveda, you know, Ayurvedic self-care, or what Ayurveda, because I do teach Ayurvedic module at the yoga teacher training, so I can talk hours on that, you know, if you want to dive deeper. So probably we'll be doing it in the future. Yeah.
That's what I meant, more style than addition. Okay, that's what Nancy said. How long have you been reading tarot? That's from Trish.
Yeah, since 2006. Again, I'm not a professional tarot reader in any way, but I've been just like a sponge, you know. I've been learning, I've been doing tarot courses, and I've been reading lots of books. So I can say probably since I got my first decks, right, and it was Centennial Tarot in a tin, and it was Russian Tarot of St. Petersburg, because I started pulling the cards and reading the meanings. But kind of in a few months later, like from when I got my first decks, I could actually get the messages. So I had a little bit of understanding of how cards work and read together. So yeah, since 2016.
Fabulous. I think you need to begin daily lives to get it all this info that we want, Mascha.
No, I can't. My life, I can only do once a week, and and probably like when I get back to teaching, I need to change the day because I would do like my life's normally Rachele at the same time, like as we chatting. So it's Friday morning for me, and it's Thursday night for you, right? Thursday evening.
Yeah.
And yeah, so once all the yoga studios open and I'm back teaching, I probably will move it to Saturday morning for me, which will be probably Friday night for the States and in the UK.
Okay. So Trish also asks, what books do you recommend for beginners? I'm thinking she's talking about tarot.
Well, it just what you see like that's a tricky question because what tarot system or lineage you are mostly drawn to, because that's really like I started with RWS, but very quickly I really dive deeper into Marseille, and Marseille is my preferred lineage. So if you ask me about Marseille, it's definitely Untold Tarot by Caitlin Matthews and Camelia Elias' book Marseille Tarot, Towards the Art of Reading. So it's Camelia Elias and Caitlin Matthews' books.
I think Trisha's more into Rider-Waite-Smith, if I remember right.
Yeah, Rider-Waite-Smith. I actually really enjoyed Liz Dean's books. Tarot Companion is like my probably favorite little book. I think it captures the meanings of RWS very well for the cards, and it's only a small book and it's not overwhelming. I really like the Kitchen Table Tarot by Melissa Sinova. It's a really great book and it's fun to read. And I think like when I started as a beginner, like Rachel Pollack, her book is brilliant, but it was a bit too overwhelming and too heavy for me. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, so
you would love this, Trish.
Yeah, because I also like those fun reads that you can relate. It's almost like, and that's what I like Kitchen Table Tarot. It's like having a conversation with the person who knows how to read tarot and has done it for many years. But also Liz Dean's books are really good. And I think it's Ultimate Guide to Tarot is the bigger one. It has lots of spreads and yeah. So I would recommend those.
Does anyone else have any questions? Sully's actually been a good boy.
Yeah. Hey, Chappy. Busy with his bear.
You would love it, definitely, Trish. I mean, Melissa Sinova, when she's writing that, it's like you said, like she's sitting across from the table from you, literally, and you're just having a chat, but she's like a no nonsense kind of person. She just gets right to the point, but she's got like a funny, she's just got a really good attitude about things. Doesn't it seem like that to you? Can't you like see that or feel that in her writing?
Yeah, and it's very honest. It's very transparent. I also love her book. I don't know if you have her second book, Tarot Elements.
No.
It's really good because she just goes on elements and she assigns like a different area of your life to that element, and then you kind of spend time with doing the spread for that element. So it's more like health and diet, love. It's a really good one as well. But again, it's not for beginners, I think. Although she provides the meanings, but it's just more like expanding on working with elements in different areas of your life. Yeah, it's a good one as well.
Yeah, I'm going to have to get the Elements book. Your puppy is being adorable in the background, Aquarius says. I am loving Lisa from Mindful Tarot. I am.
Yeah, Paula, yeah, I really love that book as well. And Mindful Tarot by, so Lisa, who has a channel on YouTube. I wouldn't say it's for beginners, but it's more if you're really interested in mindfulness and tarot and using tarot from the perspective of the very traditional practice of teachings of in mindfulness practice. I think it's a really good read. I really enjoyed the Mindful Tarot book as well.
All right. Well, I think we've pretty much answered every question. And actually, this wasn't too bad. It was about an hour and a half. And a lot of times they go about 2 hours. So this has been perfect. I think an hour and a half is like perfect. So
It's gone so quickly though, Rachele.
they always go really fast. That's the problem. I mean, I could talk forever, seriously, because these are, I mean, you're the kind of person, the people that I interviewed, you guys are like my peeps. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
because that's the same thing. Like I've been talking to you, and it's just been so much fun. And
yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to say thank you so much for doing this. This has been a dream for me. You know,
it's me.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
likewise.
everybody, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening or rest of your day, depending on where you're at. And thank you so much for joining us. Sending you guys all love and light.
Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, it's been so much fun, and I'm kind of about to jump on and read those comments. And thank you so much for having me, Rachele. You've been wonderful, and I've really enjoyed our chat.
Thank you. My pleasure. It might be a little while before you're able to see the comments because of uploading.
On my iPad,
oh, you're going to go through there.
Back, so I'm not going to close the window. So yeah, I'll just
all right.
you. Yeah.
Bye, everyone.